Hey everyone, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. Today I am joined by Tony Nash, founder and president of AZ Branding Agency, a full service branding agency based in Michigan that's been helping businesses crack the code on what Tony calls an attention strategy for the past decade. Tony, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, to start off with your story, can you explain us a little bit about AZ branding? I mean, what is it that you exactly do and who is it that you work with?
Sure. Well, after 10 years in the hospitality industry and having a great deal of success, it was a type of industry that really just dominated my life. It was a 24/7 industry. And I really knew I wanted to branch out and do my own thing. And so, as any entrepreneur does, I started thinking about what are my marketable skills. And I wasn't 100% sure, but I knew that I had a knack for helping people take the next level in their business journey. And it was something that I really enjoyed. Kind of a motto of my life is help people win. And I knew I wanted to help businesses when I grew up in a town where I see a lot of businesses come and go. They open for a year or two and they close. And sometimes it's your favorite spot that closes. And I wanted to help more businesses stay open. And so we actually opened as AZ Business Solutions. And we were offering everything from phone repair to like mobile phone repair, ink and toner solutions, hotel consulting, web design, social media management. I mean, we were trying to do it all. And really, I was kind of throwing a lot of things at the wall to see what would stick. And where we landed, really, after a couple of years of kind of learning and where we found our most success was in the world of branding. I understood that what I could do and what my team could do most to help a business really stand out and take the next level in their business journey was by helping them get attention. To me, the most valuable currency in any business or organization is attention. And, so we're always looking for where is the best place for a specific business to get attention. Today in 2026, we're telling a lot of people that's on social media. And so we do a lot of social media management right now. And we do that by helping them with content strategy, content creation, whether it be video production, whether it be graphics, whether it be photography, finding content and stories that will help their brand stand out and get the attention it deserves. And we believe that if your business, your organization has more attention, that's going to be good for business. And so we partner with companies all over the United States. Most of them are based here in Michigan, but we worked with everyone from small restaurants and little mom and pop brick and mortars to political campaigns to semi professional sports franchises. And we've really got to do a lot of different things. And one of the things I love about what we do is we get to work with so many different types of industry. And so I'm kind of a branding nerd. One of my favorite things is sitting down with a business owner and entrepreneur and talking to them about what are their goals, what are their dreams, what are their ambitions, and then seeing if there's a way that me and my team can plug in and help them meet those objectives. And so we've been at it 10 years. It kind of went from AZ Business Solutions to AZ Branding Solutions to now AZ Branding Agency. I feel like we've fully graduated to the agency. We have a phenomenal team, some of the most talented people in our area. And we get to help businesses every day, and business owners kind of help them take the next level and see their dreams come true.
Beautiful story there, Tony. Thank you so much for explaining that. Something you said, and I want to elaborate on that, is you said you were doing everything from the beginning. So it was pretty much like everything under one umbrella. So what I really want to understand, because we're having these discussions with agency owners, where there's niching vertically, so for example, the services you provide, or horizontally, where it's who you work with.
Yeah.
I want to understand really the moment when you realize we need to niche down with the services we provide.
Yeah. Well, we've actually talked about that. Like there were certain types of industries that we had more success with than others. And we had talked about at times, do we want to be, the company that works only with real estate agents or works only with restaurants or works only with political campaigns or whatever the case might be. And each of them had their benefits and some of the things we enjoyed and some of the things we didn't. And so I would say about year five is when we really started to have the discussion of we're probably offering too many different things. I mean, certain things fell off really from the beginning. In the first 2 years, we kind of started to drop certain services, realizing that they didn't qualify onto the menu. But really around year five, we started talking about what are the things that we know we can deliver on. I don't want to just be the type of business that provides a service that nobody finds value in. And so where are the things that we know that we provide value, and that we're really actually helping the clients that we serve. And that's where we really started to niche down to this idea of branding. And so we decided, based on my experience in hotels, I remember, I had a web guy and I had a photographer and I had a videographer and I had a social media person and then I had a print person who did our uniforms and apparel and banners, and all of them had their own interpretation of what my brand should look like and what my brand should say and what it should do, and it was always so disjointed. And I learned early on in business that brand consistency is so important, especially in the social media, the digital ages. Everybody's kind of judging you right from their computer screen. And so I have always kind of had like I said, an obsession with branding. I've always enjoyed studying different brands and different logos and fonts and colors and what makes it work and what makes one business go and the other one not. And so we really kind of, through a collaborative effort of my team, we sat in our conference room for a day and really started to think through, like, what are the things that we know? And what we really landed on is that we have a team of branding experts. We understand what branding is, what it does, what it's supposed to do. And that's what we're really focused on. And so I think branding is uh, the name of the game, but what we deliver, and this is what I tell people all the time, what we can deliver and what we're selling attention. And so if you need more attention, which we think every business does, we're the people you can come to. So I didn't mean to skip over. When I was in the hotel world, I was frustrated that there were so many different people that I had to call to meet something. So we wanted to have what I call a one-stop branding solution, where we partner with an organization that's serious about their brand, that understands the value of attention. And when they need help with their website, we take care of it. When they need more social media content, we take care of it. They need a great video, they need some photography, they need some great apparel for their team, they need a new sign, new banners. Like, we can provide all of that under one roof. And then we make sure that that brand, the look of it, the sound of it, the messaging of it stays consistent and really helps them get the traction that they need.
And what would you say is working really well for you in branding these days?
Well, again, to me, it's all about getting attention, right? And so, again, today in 2026, I'm screaming from the rooftops: social media, social media, social media. If you need to sell more houses, post more. If you need to sell more cheeseburgers, post more. If you need whatever you're trying to do, put it out there. I don't know if you saw this recent campaign with this young lady on TikTok who made the Dr. Pepper jingle, and it just went crazy viral. And, to me, that's a perfect case study of someone who put out content that wasn't necessarily great, it wasn't well produced, but it clicked with people. It got 145 million views. Dr. Pepper caught on. They bought the jingle. She made $2 million, and all because she was willing to put herself out there. And I think businesses need to be more willing to put themselves out there and not get analysis paralysis over if every single post is worded just right or lighted properly. If you can afford to produce really high content, then you should. But if you can't afford it, you should still be making content. That's where I would say quantity over quality is more important.
So you say quantity over quality. I sort of want to dive into that a little bit more. Is it for businesses starting out? You say quantity is more important than quality because I mean, obviously they won't be able to afford quality. So why the quantity approach? I mean,
Well, it just depends on your view of whether you think more people seeing you, talking about you, knowing you exist, understanding where you are, understanding what you offer, understanding why you're the best, understanding why they should choose you over the next guy down the street. If you understand that's important, then you need to find ways to get that message out there. And again, with anything, the first time you do it, you're not going to be great at it. If you have a pizza place, the first time you ever made a pizza, it probably wasn't that great. But the more you made the pizza and the more you learned and the more research you did, you got better at it. And now you're so good that you opened a pizza place because your pizza's that good. It's the same thing with social media. You might not be great at it at first or any type of content, but you start putting things out there. Don't try to overdo it. Just let people know, hey guys, we got a special on pepperoni pie today. Hey everybody, from noon to 2, we're going to be doing a lunch special. Hey everybody, we just opened up down here on the street. We'd love to have you come by. Like, it doesn't have to be overly compelling. It just has to be a constant reminder to the people in the world of social media that you exist, that you're a real person, that you have a great product, a great service, and they should come see you. And the more and more you do that, the better you'll get at it. And I don't think that the average consumer probably judges our content as much as we judge it ourselves. Now, I'm not at all suggesting you should make bad content. But there have been a lot of cases of businesses who inadvertently put out bad content and it went viral. So sometimes when it's authentic and real, it can be good. So my advice would be real, be you, be authentic. If you're nervous on camera, that's okay. Let your clients see that at first. You'll get more and more comfortable with it. If you don't have a great smartphone to take photos with what you got. You'll get better and better at it. And do your research and learn. But just as important it is that you have these great products, it's important that people know about it. A business is not a if you build it, they will come. You have to tell people. And I've seen so many businesses that had a great product and a or a great service, something that was really worth going to see, but people don't know about it and they close. And so to me, get content out there, post every day, multiple times a day, tell your story, let people know you exist, and don't overanalyze if it's great, if it's perfect, if everything's right, because the people who do that, they just end up never posting and then they end up not having customers. And so it's just like anything. You get better and better, but you got to keep doing it. So again, there are a lot of easy, affordable ways to produce better content. Maybe you could do some research and invest in those. Obviously, if you can afford, you can always work with a company like ours. But if you don't have those options, just put content out there. Let people know you're there.
Doing something is better than doing nothing. I guess that's when
Absolutely.
analysis paralysis is coming in and your knowledge
100%.
is great. Yeah, I have a little bit of a story there as well. I recently put something out there with another guest, and he was really raw and vulnerable there. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know about this one, right?" But that's probably one of my most sort of liked videos on LinkedIn, like a little short clip. But it's that raw
Yeah.
authenticity that people
Real.
associate, but they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can relate to him." And that's what really gets people. So really surprised me, but you're right. I started putting stuff out there, testing what works, and really this is it. This is exactly what you're talking about.
That's it. You really never, if there was a formula to what would go viral, everybody would figure it out and do it right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
really never know what's going to hit. And so, that's why I say, again, be willing to put yourself out there. I used to, when people ask me, how's business? The first answer is always, oh, everything's great. Everything's going well. I love what I do. When you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, all the cliches. And then, we hit some tough times a couple years after the pandemic, and things got a little bit tough for us. And I remember trying to just keep up the impression that everything was great. And it dawned on me one day that I was being inauthentic. And I started to just share people the struggles of owning a business and the challenges and how difficult it is. And it resonated so much with people. What I realized is there was a lot of people like me that are in the grind every day, trying to figure it out as we go. And people like real, they like authentic. And so sometimes when a video is overproduced, people scroll on by. I've seen that a million times. Oh, it's got good lighting, it's got this. Okay, great. And when they see someone nervous on the other side of the camera talking about this pizza that they just made, they just say, "I like that person. That's someone I would like to go visit," and it just becomes real. And the other thing is this, if you're trying to appeal to everybody, you actually appeal to nobody. And so
That's
sometimes you
powerful.
know your audience. Who are you trying to reach? And you don't have everyone doesn't have to love you. There's always gonna be haters, there's always gonna be doubters. You gotta find your people, and then you can connect with those people and build your business that way.
Wow, incredible advice there yet again. Tony, you mentioned that you love to educate people. Clearly, you have such a wealth of knowledge. How do you try and educate people and businesses?
Well, I mean, it really just depends. Whenever I make contact with a business owner or an organization that's interested in learning about what we do, the first thing I like to do is just have a one-on-one conversation. And I want to sit down, and I am a curious person. I think that's one thing that helps me as a business owner is I'm curious. I wonder, how does your business work? What made you start it? Why do you do what you do? What's your why? What are your big goals? Where are you going? Why is your cheeseburger better than the cheeseburger down the road? Better at selling houses than the other real estate company? What are your things that are making you unique? And so, a lot of times in asking those questions, you learn a lot about the business and a lot about the business owner. And you find areas of where you can help them or not help them. Sometimes I'll have a meeting with somebody and I realize there's not much that I could do or offer to help this person. But when I see that people have an area of need, which is again probably why they came to see me, sometimes I realize they need us to do that for them. But then there are some times where I realize they just need a little boost. They just need a little training. We have several packages where we will go to a place of business and we will offer social media training for their team or for their staff. We offer website training, how to manage your website and maintain your website. And so, really, to me, education is about, I'm not the type of person that just wants to sit and talk to an audience of none. I want to find where people have a deficiency or a need or something that they're curious about. And if it's something that I feel like I have knowledge on and I can help them, then there's a number of ways that I try to do that. But we also do create educational content. We have a few podcasts of our own that we produce. One specifically that we do in this studio called Behind the Brand. And we interview entrepreneurs every week and we talk to them about what's the story behind their brand and how did they get where they're going and what are they doing. And we find that that's a very educational platform because a lot of other entrepreneurs watch it and realize, oh, I made that mistake, or oh, I was about to make that mistake. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I listened to this. And so to me, it all comes back to that kind of mission of helping people win. And when I see that training, teaching, sharing my knowledge, sharing my wisdom can help people, then I do that. And I also think that some people get very stingy with their knowledge. If you have knowledge but don't share it with anybody, they want to put everything behind a paywall. And to me, if you have knowledge and you've learned things, share it with the world. Offer value. I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, but Gary V he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And he says, in the world of marketing and branding, the jab, jab, jab is give, give, give information, give help, give resources, give value. The right hook is the ask. And the problem is most businesses or many businesses are throwing a lot of right hooks. They're asking, they're asking, they're asking, come buy, come shop, come give, come help. And they're not giving anything. And to me, you have to give more than you get if you want people to connect with you. And so to me, that's where the education portion comes in, is how I can give back what I've learned and what I understand to help people take that leap.
Yeah, and also sometimes saying no to the client because you're like, maybe I can't deliver value on this. I don't want to promise something is
Exactly.
more powerful than saying yes to everything.
That's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. I mean, when I first started, if anyone's willing to offer you money to do something as a new business owner, you're going to take it, right? And so I ended up doing a lot of things that was maybe outside of my wheelhouse. And at the end of the day, the client didn't feel that they received value because I was doing something that maybe I didn't understand. And that's where the niching down comes in, is where you, as a business, you learn, like, you know, if I'm going to make it, I have to solve a problem in the marketplace. I can't just be a service provider. I can't just have a great product. I got to solve some problem that people have. And so that's where our conclusion of, this is the need that a lot of businesses have right now. This is the need that we can solve, and this is how we can deliver.
Something else I want to touch point on what you mentioned is sort of returning back to your community. You're right. Everyone keeps the knowledge to themselves, like, I'll buy this course for $50 and I'll tell you the secret sauce.
Right.
Actually, when you return back to the community, or you give the A to Z, right?
Yeah.
The A
Yeah.
to Z approach, they won't actually do it themselves because they don't have the time or
Exactly.
the means to figure it out, even though they have the blueprint in front of them.
Absolutely right.
I've heard that it's even more powerful to onboard clients that way by just offering value. Let them do it themselves if they want
Yeah.
to.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we always say we're always trying to work ourselves out of a job. Like, do our job so well and facilitate the people that you're serving to be able to learn a lot of this stuff they can do on their own. And we've had many clients who have reached a level of success. I can think of a real estate agent right now that she came to me my second year in business. She was starting out and she heard good things about us. She came to me. We helped her get her brand launched, her first website. We did all of her social media. We did all of her billboards. We made all of her videos. We did all these things for her for several years, and her business has exploded with growth. She's become the number one real estate agent in our area in just 7 short years, number one in sales volume, number one in social media views, number one in a lot of categories. And every real estate agent wants to work for her and be a part of her. And but today she's been able to hire kind of an internal social media team, and she has some people that help her with producing some of her videos. And although we still work with her on some levels, really it's more of a consulting role at this point. We're providing tools and resources to help her people, but we're not managing the whole thing for her. And so even though maybe she's not spending as much money with us personally, she tells everybody about us and she's connected with a lot of people. And because we were able to help her grow in that journey and didn't just see her as client A or, client number 17 or whatever, but as a real person who was trying to do a real thing and be a part of that journey and help her win. Now she's being able to do a lot of things in house and she feels very empowered. And I just met with her this last weekend and we had some great conversations about, hey, what are some things that we can do together this year? Because, there are things that we do well, but I think you just do them a little bit better. And so she still sees the value there. And we've been able to see her kind of graduate to being able to do some of these things on her own. And I think if you ever get to the place where you're afraid that if you share too much, you're going to lose out on something or someone's going to take your job or whatever, I just think you miss out. I think be willing to give, be willing to share, help your community, help those around you, and it will come back to you, sometimes in different ways than you think or realize.
Yeah, exactly like you said, that referral, or maybe it's somebody that, they know of, or a completely different person. It's just a
Yeah.
chain reaction end of the day.
Yeah. And just the guilt by association, like the fact that we are associated with that brand gives us a lot of clout. People see how successful she's been and they know she worked with us. They think I need to work with them if I want to be successful. And so, it's a give and take. It's an understanding of what a business needs, and it's truly having a good mission. The mission is not just to fill the bank account or to have a certain number of clients. The mission is to help the people you serve win. And I think a lot of business owners go wrong in that they lose the mentality of service. They're not serving their people, they're just offering this product or they're just offering this service and they lose sight of like the people that it's going to take to help them be successful, which is your customers and your clients. So I think if you go in with a service mindset, it changes the game.
You know what's incredible? I've recently had a conversation with Andrew Ballard, and wealth of knowledge there. He's
Yeah.
teaching at universities, and he said the same thing. He said, I walk into any business with a servant's heart.
Yeah. Yep.
Exact
Absolutely.
same thing you said. Things are aligning here. What I want to ask you, Tony, is, have you ever had a business come to you and them not knowing the benefits or not really realizing they need branding, like putting that educational value out there? Like how do you position that conversation?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have a brand. I just have a business. Like some people don't make the correlation that they're one and the same, really. And a lot of times people think of the brand as the logo, the fonts, the colors, and that's really just the visual aspect of the brand. But the brand is the part of your company that builds trust, that builds loyalty, that makes people feel something when you walk in. I always say it this way: your brand is a combination of who you think you are and who your customers know you are. And if those two don't match, you have a brand identity crisis. And so sometimes people come in with the not understanding even what branding is or that they need it. Sometimes people come in with a misconception of what they're putting out to the world and what how people perceive them. The way they perceive themselves is not at all how the Google reviews perceive them or the Facebook reviews or the Yelp reviews. People are saying something different than what they think they're putting out. And so for me, a part of that initial meeting where I'm asking questions is me trying to really figure out where they're at. And now, sometimes we get the ideal customer that comes in and they say, I understand the value of a brand. I need more attention. I know you're the people to get us. So tell me what it's going to cost and let's go. But that's pretty rare. That's great when that happens. A lot of times it's people say, I love what you guys do. I love your content. It seems like such a cool place to be. I've heard a lot of good things about you, but how can you help us? And then we're meeting with a client tomorrow that is a huge multi-million dollar company that services, they actually refurbish city transit buses all over the country. So these
Wow.
buses that you see drive around the city, once they get to the point where they don't pass their DOT inspections, they send them here to our little town in Michigan. They refurbish them for them and they send them back out. And so they do high scale, high dollar work. And they've been around for a very long time. And they reached out to us. We've done some small projects for them. And they just reached out to us. They said they would like to get with us once a quarter. They'll pay us to come just help us take a look at their business and see what areas in the world of branding and marketing that they're falling short in and how can we help them. They just want advice and a consultation. And so again, for me, it's about figuring out what are the needs of the client, Some of those needs are realized and some of them are not. And then how do I get them to understand why branding is so important or why it's going to help them? And really, again, I've said this a few times, but I boil it back down to attention. And when you really, really think about it, everything we do, we put a billboard on the road, it's because we're looking for attention. We run a TV commercial, it's because we're looking for attention for our business. We get business cards, we wear a shirt with our logo on it, we get a vehicle with our logo wrapped all over it. We post on social media. It's all so that we can get some attention so that people know what we're doing. And so I try to figure out, or I try to help them understand how having a brand identity and a consistent brand message and a consistent brand look will help them get consistent attention and the attention that they want and they need.
What's really great with your approach, Tony, is the fact that you're not afraid to go in there as a consultant. You know that
Yeah.
them hiring you will be a bigger buck in your bank, pretty much.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you don't mind going in there as a consultant. This client potentially that you're speaking with, he could have his own department.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
sometimes it's good to get another outsider's perspective, especially on branding. So you're still getting like a business end of the day.
Absolutely. And I think if you serve people with honesty and integrity, that even if you don't directly help, even if you don't directly get money from them, they probably will refer you. But, I also just believe in the value of doing the right thing. And, some companies do have their own marketing team and their own social media team. But I also think this is key. Whatever you're doing, you have to have some expertise. And there are certain things that I know we are experts in. And even if I give them some consultation and give them some advice and even give them some tools, at the end of the day, they're likely not going to be able to do it at the level that we can. And so, even though I might give them the little boost to get started, they're probably going to end up coming to me for help anyways down the road as they realize, like, we got to work with somebody that's an expert. And so, you can't be afraid of losing out on an opportunity because you gave somebody too much information or you shared too much. I think people that do that, they just don't win in their own life. And winning is a term that can be defined differently by different people. But to me, I go to bed at night with a clear conscience. I can put my head down, I can look my kids in the eye and know that I've done well by the people that I serve. And I think that pays off in so many ways.
We talk about so many wonderful things happening in your industry and in your agency as well. So I'm sort of wondering, are there any frustrations that you're seeing in branding?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of new DIY options. And so now, like, because of a software like Canva, everybody's a graphic designer, right? Because of ChatGPT, everybody's a writer, everybody's a logo creator, everybody's got ideas. And, people think I can do this on my own. And although I'm not afraid of people doing it on their own, I think that if people are relying on some sort of a tool or some sort of an AI software to do all of their thinking for them, they're probably missing some big things. And so probably one of my frustrations is, just the number of, I guess, DIY professionals that are out there now, do it yourself, where they think, I don't need a company like yours anymore because I can do it just as well myself. And now there are people that can do it as well as us, and that's okay. But I think people are missing out on real opportunities to grow because they're utilizing some of these do it yourself tools. It's like this. If I really put my mind to it, I could probably replace the roof on my house. Like, there's enough YouTube videos and Google videos, and the Home Depot could probably help me with the right equipment and tools. And I could probably do it on my own, but it's going to take me a lot longer. It's probably going to cost me more. It probably won't last as long. And then I might get a leaky roof. And that's certainly going to create a lot of frustration because it's not what I'm good at. It's not what I understand. And I think the same thing about your brand. You know, People will spend so much time and effort on perfecting their product. I'm going to have the best burger in town. I'm going to have the nicest location that exists. They spend all the time perfecting this product, this thing, and then the one thing that they have available to let people know that it exists and putting themselves out there, particularly I'm speaking of social media, they just neglect it. They let it go. They don't put the time into it. So, we're coming across a lot of people will come to us and say, "Hey, I created this logo with ChatGPT," or "Hey, I don't need help with my social media anymore because I have Canva." And we use Canva here and we use I think they're great tools, but they still need a little bit of professional expertise to know how to utilize those. So I would just say to other agency owners watching this or listening that, number one, don't be intimidated by those tools. You need to utilize them. You need to understand them. And you know how to help them benefit your organization. And then you need to be able to show where you can provide value beyond those do it yourself tools as an expert. That's why you have to have some expertise.
I love the fact that you mentioned you need to have that expert guidance to really guide that tool because you know what you want the final output to be up to your standards that you've done years and years of. The business owner obviously not having that knowledge is not going to get the same output as you will. It's not the
Well,
same.
and the thing is, like, the human brain is a powerful thing. If any of us set our mind to do something, we probably could do just about anything, right? Like, if I wanted to learn how to build houses and be a construction person, I could learn that. But I understand, uh, I want to remodel my kitchen, but I am a very busy person. And so I could either say, I'm going to remodel my kitchen this year and know that because of my schedule, I'm never going to get to it. I'm not going to have the time. I'm going to do things wrong, have to redo them over. And it's going to be more of a frustration than anything. Or I could hire an expert that just takes care of it for me so that I can continue to do the things that I love, that I'm good at, and allow somebody else to do the things that they're good and they're good at and that they love. And, it's the same thing with your brand. You as a business owner are incredibly capable. And you probably could manage your own social media. You probably could build your own website. You probably could create some videos. So the question I have is, why aren't you doing it then? And the answer probably is because you don't have time. It's not your area of expertise. And so instead of being frustrated over it and realizing you're never doing as much as you should and realizing you're always missing the mark or leaving money on the table, find someone who's an expert and let them do what they do so that you can do what you do. Your business is going to grow more when you're building the house and not managing the social media. Your business is going to grow more when you're giving the vision for the next thing and when you're coming up with a strategy and when you're making the plans and not getting bogged down in all these other things. And the reason a company like ours exists is because people come to that exact conclusion. Like, I know I need to do this. I know I need more social media. I know I need to have a better website, blah, blah, blah. I just don't have time. And when you can get to that place and realize, like, yes, I probably could, it's not a matter of capability, but should I? I think I love, there's a quote that I love that says, vision will help you determine what you should do from what you could do. We can do a lot of things, but as a business owner, what should I spend my time on? And if you try to do everything all by yourself, it's going to be a struggle. You probably can do it. It's just going to be harder. And so, what's your vision? Where is it taking you? Where you're going? And help you let that allow you to determine the way you could spend your time from how you should spend your time.
Awesome, awesome advice there. And I'm wondering your perspective on this because with most of the agency owners I've spoken with, you are so incredible at delivering for your clients. But when it comes to your own business development and your own pipeline, you fall short.
Sure.
Can you give any value out there, any advice how you crack the code to make sure there is that consistent pipeline and that business development done? I'm sure there was a time that you didn't focus on that as well, possibly because you were so focused on delivering the best results for your clients.
Yeah. No, that's 100. I just had that conversation with a client this morning.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's very, especially when you're in a service industry, you get so busy serving everyone else that sometimes you forget to serve yourself. And there are some things here that I take my own advice that we do outsource, that we work with experts to help us in other things so that we don't get bogged down. Like, I don't handle my bookkeeping. I hired an expert to handle my bookkeeping because although I'm very capable of probably balancing the books and keeping the receipts, that's going to take a lot of my time. So I hired an expert to do that. And there are other examples like that. And so I think though the reality of a business owner is there are so many things to grab your time and grab your attention that the person that often gets served last is you. And I think it's a mistake. And you have to be very intentional and very proactive to not only yourself, but get your team involved with making sure that you're giving your own business the attention it deserves and getting it out there because you could serve everyone around you and not serve yourself and they thrive and you can fail. And so you have to take all the tools and skills. If you're a branding agency or a marketing agency, you have access to all the toys and all the skills and all the tools. You got to utilize them for yourself. So here at AZ, just like we assign projects to our staff for clients, we also assign projects to them for us to update the website on this day or create this social media content or come up with a campaign for this. And it's part of their workflow so that we don't get left in the dust.
What moment did you have in the agency where you're like, I can't rely on these referrals anymore, or to go to all these networking events? When was really the moment you're like, okay, I need to either outsource it to somebody else or learn how to crack this code?
Yeah, it's an ever learning process, to be honest with you. I'm actually on a panel Wednesday for a group called the Inspired Women's Network talking about the value of networking. And there's a bunch of questions about why networking is so important. And I've really been thinking about it because I personally hate going to networking events. I don't enjoy it. I'm good at it. I'm good with people. I like to talk, but I feel like oftentimes those just become like everybody bragging about themselves and nobody really acquiring anything of great value, never getting new customers. Or you have the people that just show up to tell their boss that they showed up, don't really talk to anybody, eat the free meal, and then they bounce. So my approach is probably going to be networking is a big waste of time unless you utilize it properly. And so I'm really trying to formulate how that all works out because there was a point where I had a full-time sales and marketing director who was going to all the networking meetings and all of the things for us, making the connections. And I have just in the last 6 months taken that back myself because I feel like I had, as the company grows, I feel like part of me is losing a little bit of connection with my people. And, the truth is, as much as you can hire great people that are good at what they do and love what they do and are loyal to the business, nobody's really going to ever care and love about the business like you do. And so I realized, like, at this point in time, I need to take a little step back to take a step forward. And so now I've been the one going to, I have my marketing director going with me, but I go to every chamber event that I can, every networking event that I can, which takes a lot of my time, but I'm really trying to formulate in my mind, like, how do you crack this code, like you just said? And I can't say that I figured it out yet. I realize there's value in it. I realize there's attention to be had by doing that. I realize by me showing up keeps me in the conversation and keeps me at the top of people's mind. But I'm really trying to figure out right now what is the best value of this? How do we make the most of it? We're spending money, time, resources on it. How do we get a good return on it? And so my answer to your question is I'm still figuring it out. I don't really know the answer to that yet, but I'm trying to learn that because I want it to bring value.
Tony, I love how honest you are and transparent. End of the day, that's what we need to be, right? As business
Absolutely.
owners.
We don't have all the answers.
You know what, Tony, you're on a mission. So how about once you figure out the networking, we should take a rain check and have another podcast.
Yeah, let's do. I love it. Anytime. And I need to have you on my
Awesome.
podcast for sure.
Yeah, why not? It'll be a
Yes,
great time. Awesome. Tony,
absolutely.
tell me, what is the plan for you in 2026? What are your goals for the agency that you're trying to really focus on this year?
Well, again, I've said this word a lot. The goal is attention, 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 attention for us. But I think really educating people on why that's so important. And, I would say over the years, as we've evolved, we've really tried to learn what are the things that work and what are the things that don't. Whenever we meet with a new client, one of the first things before we start working with them, I ask them, what are you selling? I'll give an example. We have a great heating and cooling company, HVAC. And so I said to them, what do you sell? And his answer was, we sell furnaces and we sell air conditioners and we sell air purifiers and we do service and maintenance. And I said, okay, yeah, but what do you sell? Well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, nobody wants to buy a furnace. Nobody wants to buy it. Like, there's a reason they're buying those things. Why are they buying those things? Because you don't go to Walmart or to the grocery store. It's something you buy because you have to, right? But what is the reason people want a new heater or furnace or a new air conditioner? And, trying to help him answer the question without me answering it for him, we finally landed on comfort. So I said, what do you sell? You're selling comfort, the comfort of a home that's warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And so on their social media, we show family night, game night. We show a family sitting on a couch in a blanket watching a movie together with some popcorn. We're selling the end result, right? There's a lot of people that offer furnaces. There's a lot of people that offer air conditioners. And so why is yours different? What are you trying to get them to? And so as we've done the same thing for AZ, what are we selling? There's a lot of people that offer web design. There's DIY out there. There's a lot of people that manage social media, or can make videos. What makes us different? And so I would say at the end of the day, what we are selling here at AZ is attention. If you want attention for your business, if you want attention for your organization, we can get you that. I don't guarantee a number of leads. I don't guarantee a number of followers on social media. I don't guarantee a number of clicks to your website. I think companies that do that are scamming you, because even the leads they send you probably aren't going to be leads that you actually need. So, what we guarantee you here at AZ is if you go with us and you follow the strategies that are proven and that work, we can get you attention. And so, my goal for 2026 is to get AZ more attention and to get our clients more attention.
Love that ending. And Tony, if people wanted to connect with you, find out more information about your services or about you, where should they look?
We are everywhere. You can go to our website, azbranding.com. We're on just about every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn. We're everywhere. Some we post more than others, some we work more than others, but you can find us at those places. Most of our social media handles are at AZ Branding. That's AZEE branding.com. If you want to chat with me, if you want to just have a discussion, maybe you're struggling with something, you can send me a personal email, Tony at azbranding.com. I would love to hear about you, love to learn about your business. And if there's a way that I can help you, I promise that I will. And if not, I'll at least send you off with some good advice, even if it's unsolicited. So yeah, I mean, that's how you can connect us. It's pretty easy to find us. If you just put AZ in a Google search, we'll probably come up pretty high because there's not a lot of companies named AZ. So I want to help you grow your brand from A to Z.
Thank you so much, Tony. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, so for anyone listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And let me know down below in the comments your favorite takeaway from Tony.